Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to talk about somebody that's in the news, and this is such a fascinating chart. I think you'll love this. But who is in the news but Pavel Durov? I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, but he is from Russia, and he is the CEO and the founder of Telegram. And the reason why he is in the news right now is he's just been arrested in Paris due to some information that has been going on Telegram. Now, a lot of this he's been accused of is that on this platform, they have found that there was like some child pornography, and there were all sorts of drug trafficking and fraud and money laundering. That's what he's accused of in France with why he was arrested with Telegram. But on the other side of the coin, they say that they've been attempting to silence free speech. We all know that there's so much that's been going on in terms of Facebook and Instagram, and with actually Edward Snowden and Elon Musk. All of this stuff has really been up in the news, just how much a lot of this stuff has been censored. What is wrong? What is right? What is going on? I don't know, to be exact. So I thought, I'd really like to look at his chart, because we can't trust everything we're hearing in the news, especially about what he's arrested on and what's been going on. But this is serious business that they arrested him, and he is out on bail, but he's not allowed to leave France. Now, he is a citizen of France, even though he is Russian born, and I believe he has citizenship in an island in the Caribbean. And I mean, this guy is brilliant to be able to create these programs. I know it's kind of like, well, Telegram is, to me, like WhatsApp. And instead of WhatsApp, we actually use Telegram with my University of Vedic Astrology. With my course, all of my students get together and they ask each other questions and learn from each other using Telegram. And the reason why we went with Telegram over WhatsApp is it was said to be a lot safer. People couldn't get in and hack you, or it was just a whole lot safer, and we had more privacy. So that's why we choose to go with that one. So I guess maybe the privacy might have enabled some of these illegal things to be happening, which is, always these things are going to be abused. But, this is all a big concern about free speech in the West democracies, who claim to be so open with free speech, but then they're the ones that kind of restrict it the very most and actually censor it, use it to change people's thoughts and opinions about things. This is a big issue going on around the world. But I mean, if he has pornography and child pornography and drug, all these terrible things, fraud, money laundering, all this stuff that he's accused of, that's not good either, obviously. And they also said that he was being investigated on suspicion of serious acts of violence towards one of his children, while he and his ex-partner and boy's mother were in Paris, a source said. She filed another complaint against him in Switzerland last year. The tech mongrel founded Telegram, and he was in the process of quitting his native Russia a decade ago. And I read something to the effect that Russia wanted him to work for them, but he denied that, and he had to leave Russia. And, you know, supposedly Macron wanted to work with him as well, but then all of this came up, so who knows? And they say that they estimate his fortune right now at 15.5 billion. Can you imagine? But what's real interesting about him is he promotes the virtues of an ascetic life, which he doesn't drink, no alcohol, coffee. He's very health conscious. Yeah, he does all sorts of things to promote health and healing. I mean, weird. It's just weird. So anyway, let's pull up his chart and see what we can see, because I found his chart to be quite interesting. So looking at him, he was born October 10th, 1984. 1:20 p.m. in St. Petersburg, Russia. His ascendant sits in Scorpio. And we all know Scorpio can be the most passionate, deep, profound sign of the zodiac. But what is just fascinating about his chart that just pops off the minute you look at it is he has Uranus the same degree as his ascendant. That makes him so unconventional and brilliant. I mean, he thinks outside the box. Uranus deals with brilliance and genius, deals with computers as well, technology. And being right on the ascendant says he's never going to conform to any traditional means of anything. He's going to be the outcast, the unconventional thinker and believer, everything. He's different. Very different. But then when you look to his second house, the second house is the house of finances and money and childhood experiences and your voice. Look that he has Mars with Jupiter there. Mars rules his chart because Mars rules Scorpio. We in Vedic astrology use the old rulerships, not Pluto. So, and with his Mars being with Neptune. Wow, that is pretty intense, I must say. He can be delusional at times. I find that people that have a Mars-Neptune can be very delusional. But that Jupiter-Mars in the second house of finances and money give him great, great wealth, because Mars rules his chart, rules the first house, and it sits with Jupiter in its own sign of Sagittarius. You bring together the ruler of the first with the ruler of the second in the second house of money and wealth. You will find this individual being very, very wealthy. Yes. But he has a lot of planets in the 12th house, which can deal with behind the scenes and secrets, and sometimes even incarceration. 12th house is prisons. I find that very, very interesting to have that there in the 12th house. So there in the 12th house, he has Venus, Saturn, and Pluto. This could be an indication that he has many secrets, and who knows if he's not weird in some way with these 12th house energies. Venus is the ruler of the 7th house of marriage and relationships, and it also rules the 12th house. But being there with Saturn represents problems in marriage and relationships, no doubt, and many secrets. I'll give it that for sure. And the other thing is he's got Mercury conjunct the Sun exactly in the 11th house in Virgo. Let me explain what this means. This is very interesting because whenever you have two planets And they are the same degree as the sun, a planet the same degree as the sun. You know, you'd think of it being combust, burnt by the sun, but not when it's the same degree. That means it's Cassimi. And what a Cassimi planet means is that planet becomes one with the sun, and it emits the energy of that planet from the sun. In other words, the rays of the sun are bright with Mercury's energy. And on top of that, Mercury is exalted, meaning its strongest, most powerful sign it can be in is Virgo, and represents extreme intelligence. His mind is off the charts. He's brilliant. And he's weird with Uranus on the ascendant. And with this, you will see that in the 11th house, Mercury, Cassimi, the sun. What that means is the 11th house is also the house of great gains. It means that it is incredible intelligence, but with money and great gains. And the 3rd house is ruled by Saturn, and it goes to, I'm looking at the 3rd house because the 3rd house deals with siblings, and he works with his brother. And actually the 11th house can mean the oldest one. So he is probably the oldest one. I didn't check that out. But this is where he works with his brother. His brother is said to be brilliant and a genius as well. But Saturn ruling the 3rd going to the 12th, they sometimes don't get along. 3rd house being siblings, 12th house being losses. So what I find really interesting though about this chart, I mean, there's one thing after another. I keep saying that because it really is an exceptional chart. And he has an exceptional life. We don't know the ins and outs about the truth yet, but hopefully we will. But who knows if he's totally doing everything that's illegal. You know, with that kind of money, you don't know how you can buy the courts. But regardless, we don't know. So his moon, I want you to notice his moon. It stands away from all of the planets. It's by itself. And we call this an isolated moon. And whenever someone has an isolated moon, meaning there's no planets in the same house or the house before or the house after, it's away from where all the planets are. The planets are kind of all contained within 4 houses, the 11th, 12th, 1st, and 2nd. And his moon's way over there in the 5th house. An isolated moon means you never feel support or connection to other people. And usually it means you felt like your mother was never there for you. You never felt connected or supported by other people. That's an isolated moon. And those of you that have that in your chart, I know you'll agree with that. You just really felt isolated in your life, separated, alienated by other people. That's what it means. But his moon does sit in the 5th house, which is the house, once again, this is a house that deals with intelligence, the mind. And he is brilliant, brilliant mind. And then not only that, Mercury opposes it. Mercury moon people, when moon or Mercury are conjunct or opposed, they never stop thinking. Their mind is always on overdrive. This guy's mental faculties are over the top. And I also noticed that Mars does aspect his moon. It squares it. So, you know, he does have a temper. As a matter of fact, Mars, if you use the Western squares, it even squares the Mercury and Sun. So Mars is in a precarious position. And being with Jupiter in the 2nd house, he may say things he shouldn't, because the 2nd house deals with the voice. But overall, the Mercury Sun in the 11th house, Mercury in its own sign, and the Jupiter Mars in the 2nd house, Jupiter in its own sign, represents massive wealth. And what did Forbes say? That his estimated wealth was $15.5 billion. That's a lot of money for someone that's not even 40 yet. Yes, he's 39 years old. He will be 40 this year. Wow. So, actually in a few days. So, this chart is astounding. Now, Rahu being in the 7th house, he does attract very difficult partners. Yes. So what I want to do now, the next step I want to do is I want to look at his prediction to see, is he telling the truth? Will he get out of this? Will he be incarcerated? Before I get there, I want to go into, I forgot to remind everyone to sign up for my free newsletter. In order to sign up for my free newsletter, you got to go to my website, galacticcenter.org. When you sign up, you will get all of my emails, my predictions delivered weekly free to your email. Now, another thing while you're at my website, make sure you check out my Patreon page, because I forgot to mention the whole reason why I am doing this is because one of my Patreon participants that's always active in everything, Sing Tao, suggested I do this chart reading on Pavel. And that's what I do with my Patreon people. I take their advice as to what videos I'm going to do. So if you become part of Patreon, you can tell me what videos to do as well. I'll take your suggestions. So become part of Patreon, join a spiritual community, and we have so many new exciting things happening there. We're having our participants give their stories of spiritual revelations and things in their life. It is a community of spirituality you'll want to be part of. Become a member of my Patreon, Joni Patry, and you can find that all on galacticcenter.org. One more thing, if you haven't signed up for my Galactic Planner, you're missing out, because there's a month free. It is going to expire October 7th. So join in, get a free month. What does it do? It calculates your personal chart and gives you all your personal predictions delivered to your calendar on your phone or your computer. I wrote all of the translations. It's like having a private astrologer at your disposal. So join that, see if you like it. It's free. If you don't like it, cancel it. I just want you to try it. I think you're gonna love it. So let's continue on now. Let's go to the predictions for Pavel and see what's going on here. So plugging in the transits, I noticed that his dasha, he is in Moon Saturn. His dasha's Moon Saturn till next year, September of 2025. So this is the one. It started last February. So he's in Moon Saturn. And Saturn being in the 12th house is the real problem here. And if you look at where his moon sits, in the 5th house, that's not so bad. But the way that you determine dashas is you count from the grand cycle to the sub-cycle. Let's count around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's the worst combination you can have. 8-6 relationship. So the Moon Saturn is a terrible dasha because Saturn sits in the 12th house of prison, incarceration, I mean. So that is a big, terrible dasha to be in. Now, let's talk about the transits, because Saturn is in his 4th house, can't return home, and Saturn is around 23 degrees when this happened. Look at his Mercury and look at his Sun. Saturn is in a 8-6 relationship to his Mercury Sun. He's in trouble. Saturn can cause endings. This is great loss for him, I can say, because really essentially what this aspect is in Western astrology is called the quincunx, in conjunct or quincunx. I call it an 8-6 or a 6-8 relationship. It deals with the energy of what is the 8th house? Endings and death. What is the 6th house? Accidents and struggles. So that's what he is dealing with. This aspect is dead on. Saturn was 23 degrees when he was arrested, and his Sun, Mercury, both 23 degrees, 8 placements from transiting Saturn. And looking at where Jupiter is, Jupiter's going to usually give us a break, right? Well, Jupiter is also aspecting that Mercury Sun. So Jupiter was around 23 degrees when he was arrested in Taurus. So it is trining his Sun, Mercury. What do you say when you have both? Well, it's not a Vedic aspect, Saturn's aspect, but Jupiter aspecting that can mean, yeah, he can get a release. Jupiter will aspect this degree point 2 more times. So one will be in the next month or so. Let's see, Jupiter's at 27. No, it'll probably be in around December. And then again somewhere in April. So those are the times when he will get a release and something will happen, definitely in his favor. And he will somehow, his side of the story, whichever it may be, will come through and will help him tremendously. Yes. And so, yeah, because his Jupiter is a great planet for his chart. And Jupiter sits in the 7th house. Partners that will help him. Okay, transiting Jupiter, 23 degrees of Taurus. Now Mars is going to be in Gemini and Cancer till going back and forth between those two signs. So they're going to be, Mars in his 8th house is nasty. And he was arrested with Mars in the 8th house. Mars just entered into Gemini. And it was aspecting his Jupiter and Mars in the 2nd house. This is extremely costly and causing major problems. And they also say the 2nd house sometimes deals with your morals. And with Mars, Jupiter there, well, Mars, they're actually good planets. But Neptune's there. Oh, I forgot about that. Neptune can mean illusions and delusional. So he's a weird kind of guy. Let me put it that way. He may be brilliant, off the charts, smart, unusual. He's kind of weird. He's not like normal people. Let me put it that way. Definitely so. And when Jupiter goes back to, Jupiter's going to actually go back to 17 degrees in station, and that's going to be in January. Jupiter will actually station at 17 degrees the whole January and the whole month of February. That's going to be his release, because that's his ascendant and that's his Uranus. He will get free. And he'll probably somehow have people pay the price for arresting him, whatever that could be. So this was a really in-depth study of a chart. I hope you enjoyed it. And seeing what you can see through astrology, we'll see how this all unfolds for him. But if this raised any interest in learning astrology, which I hope it did, because I love astrology, I have a school. You can become my student. Go to universityofvedicastrology.com. and become my student and learn how to be an astrologer so you can read a chart just like I did. Thank you.